The autumn of 71, we put together a small group of consultants, and their mission was to investigate the best or the most eligible locations for a Cabernet Sauvignon grapevine to live and be and thrive. And they reported back in January, early January of 1972, which for us was to become a very big year. And their recommendations were that we should consider as the two most likely, the most viable, the most exciting properties would be the Stag's Leap area in Napa or the then very little known Alexander Valley in Sonoma County. Now, there were a few prestigious vineyards and wineries in Napa, but Alexander Valley had not really been discovered, and there was not in the Alexander Valley what our dream was, which was to have an estate bottled Cabernet house. And so we flew out to look at the Alexander Valley, and we were just dazzled. It was just paradise to us, this tiny little valley with on three sides with protective hillsides, and then this little valley with the little Russian River running through it. It was so bucolic, it was so peaceful. It was really paradise, and we fell madly in love with it at first sight. So we immediately began plans to acquire land in the Alexander Valley, acreage. And the acreage that was in the Alexander Valley was not in vines, it was in prune orchards. And so we proceeded with plans to acquire acreage, as actually 275 acres in the Alexander Valley. While we were doing that, we knew that once we were able to get that land, and we would then be able to remove the prune trees, develop the AXR1 rootstock, plant it, and we would be on our way. So we then developed a timetable, and the signing, the final signatures on the deal would be done at the Sonoma County Courthouse on May 25th. And that was, a couple of months away, several months away. And so that seemed like a reasonable time, and we were looking forward to flying out for that big moment. In the meantime, other things were happening that were equally exciting. We were expecting a baby. Well, we didn't know if it were going to be a boy or a girl, but we were scheduled for the baby's arrival the 1st of May. And the 1st of May would be fine because we planned the baby would be here, the baby would be home with a nanny, and then Tom and I would fly out to the Sonoma County Courthouse and sign the papers. Well, the baby didn't come, and I began to look more and more like the Goodyear blimp. And finally, Dr. Lombardi said, we can't wait any longer. We're going to do a C-section, and I've scheduled it for 8 o'clock in the morning on May 25th at the hospital. I said, well, we can't do that, don't you see? We have to be at the Sonoma County Courthouse at noon. He said, well, Tom Jordan can be there, but you can't be there. You're going to be in the hospital having the baby. So at 8:05, the baby was born. It was a darling little baby boy, and we had the name all planned, Thomas John Jordan. We were going to call him John, but he was named for his great-grandfather. So at about 8:07, 2 minutes after he was born, Dr. Lombardi carried this precious little baby boy, who, by the way, was very, very late. I mean, it was so John not to come on time. But anyway, he was adorable, and they carried the little baby out and showed him to his daddy, and Tom was so thrilled and so proud and just marveled at this little miracle. Then he looked at his watch and he said, gotta go. So the baby and I stayed at the hospital. Tom raced to the airport, got to Sonoma County, went to the courthouse, signed the papers, then flew immediately back that afternoon to baby John and me. He was a proud daddy and a new proud farmer. And so that was such an exciting moment for us to be in the vineyard business and then to have this precious little baby John too.